With you guys today, Dijonai Carrington. After clotheslining Sophie Cunningham, running into the locker room, screaming, "That's white privilege!" Then tweeting 8/23, threatening Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever, Dijonai Carrington now comes out and clarifies what she means when she says white privilege for the
So with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, Dijonai Carrington just slapped the dog shit out of Sophie Cunningham. Sophie pops up. She's obviously upset. Dijonai says, "Try me." And then look at Stephanie White. Look at her face. Look. She's mad as shit. Now, number one, this is obviously a flagrant 2. It just is. By the letter of the law, you got to call a flagrant 2. We all know these refs are not.
That girl needs to be thrown out the league. She's not even a good enough player to be bringing this type of drama. She needs to be.
DJ Carrington thought the internet needed a lesson after being ejected from a game. Instead of apologizing or explaining what happened, she walked out of the locker room and posted 2 words that instantly ignited controversy: white privilege. Days later, she was still defending the post, refusing to back down as criticism poured in from every direction. What started as an on-court incident quickly turned into one of the biggest WNBA debates of the season. And
Cunningham, otherwise known as MAGA Barbie in the WNBA, is a superstar player. She's one of the most famous female athletes in the world because she stood up for women in women's sports, saying only biological women should be allowed to play in the WNBA. And for that, she is literally risking her life. Check this out. This is what happened to Sophie Cunningham last night when she was clotheslined by a filthy, dirty player for Chicago who has a name that I can't pronounce, or maybe I just refuse to do that. That's my right as an American. But this is a player that has attacked Caitlin Clark, gouged her eye out, that has now bloodied the face of Sophie Cunningham. And as soon as she did this, she tweeted white privilege, meaning she's declaring this is a race crime. Now, if a white woman was doing this to black women, it'd be the #1 story in the world. She'd be banned from the league forever. But somehow black women are allowed to get away with this against white women. And it's white women in the league who make themselves a target by simply standing up for traditional values. And
Sophie Cunningham has been one of Caitlin Clark's most outspoken supporters throughout the season. She has repeatedly argued that neither the league nor the officials do enough to protect Clark from the physical treatment she faces night after night. Cunningham has openly criticized specific incidents, players, and even claimed that some teams have discussed making Clark learn what life in the WNBA is really like. Comments like that do not make many friends around the league, and Cunningham has never tried to hide the fact that she knows exactly how unpopular those opinions can make her.
Goo! That's assault, brother. You can't do that. What the fuck? Is this just the default if you can't think? Or if you just don't want to take accountability for your actions? Oh my god, this league, bro, this league. Bro, white privilege while you're wearing a bleach blonde dyed wig. I mean, the fuck? What is privileged about that? You Stone Cold Steve Austin clotheslined her ass. What about that is white privilege? The WNBA stays undefeated. It truly does. They can't get out of.
This history matters because it helps explain why so many people looked at this foul and felt there was more behind it than just a hard basketball play. Cunningham has already built a reputation as one of the players most willing to speak publicly about how Caitlin Clark is treated on the court. Now she was the one taking a forearm to the face and leaving the play bloodied. Whether Carrington intended any deeper message or not, the optics were impossible to ignore. The moment the ejection happened, the narrative almost wrote itself.
Beyond concerning at this point how far from the plot we have actually gotten. And when I say the plot, I mean the basketball. How far from the game of basketball we have spiraled. When we're talking about the WNBA, we used to joke, it's like, 0 days without drama in the WNBA. This league is living up to it at a rate and a level of concern that we haven't ever had.
What's going on in the WNBA? Dijonai Carrington tweeted out white privilege white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouled her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. Dijonai, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell?
Cunningham was not the only person who noticed the tension. Earlier in the season, when Caitlin Clark was ranked only 9th among guards in a league-wide player poll, legendary broadcaster Dick Vitale did not hold back. He called the result pure jealousy and argued that players would eventually recognize how much Clark had helped elevate the league financially. After the Carrington incident, those comments suddenly felt more relevant to many fans. Once again, someone closely associated with Clark found herself at the center of a physical controversy. With a former teammate celebrating the moment and a coach appearing to defend the player responsible rather than focusing on the injured opponent, the situation raised even more questions. For some observers, it became increasingly difficult not to wonder whether Vitale's criticism had been pointing to a larger issue all along.
Across the face, coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is
Get what you fucking deserve.
And just getting her out of the
Lucky
way.
it wasn't a right hook.
Make no mistake about it, Carrington targeted Cunningham. She targeted her because of her political stances. She targeted Cunningham because of the praises that she keeps receiving. She targeted her with a dirty shot that had absolutely nothing to do with basketball. And then after getting ejected, she runs to the locker room to play the fucking victim card. Like she didn't try to just take off Cunningham's head in 4K. Like we all didn't just watch it happen. That is not competition. That is a grown woman swinging on someone who she disagrees with and then screaming racism when she gets held accountable for it. Dijonai Carrington needs to be held responsible, and I'm not talking about just getting ejected from the game.
This is what actually happened on the court. After watching the replay, the sequence is not particularly complicated. Sophie Cunningham was sprinting down the floor on a fast break with a clear path to the basket and appeared headed for an uncontested layup. Dijonai Carrington chased the play from behind and made contact with Cunningham around the face and neck area with her forearm. Cunningham hit the floor hard, and even though the basket counted, attention immediately shifted away from the score. Officials stopped play, reviewed the contact, and upgraded the foul to a flagrant 2, which carries an automatic ejection under WNBA rules. For many observers, the review checked every box officials look for when evaluating a flagrant foul: wind-up, significant impact, follow-through, player vulnerability, and the potential for injury.
The way Sophie Cunningham came down on her leg, she could have been injured. So they said, yo, get out of here, dog. Get out of here. Then, I don't know if y'all was looking at her lips. She was talking about, try me. Try me. Yo, you already tried Sophie? You got all the samples of Sophie. You talking about try me. What are you talking about? This lady is unhinged right now, man. This is crazy work. And it makes you wonder. It's like, dog, you were the best player for the Sky at this moment. Look how she landed on the leg. Oh my goodness. Like, you were the best player for the Sky, and you decided to do this? You weren't even thinking about the game. You was thinking about some kind of revenge or something. Somebody sent you on a mission. You were on a mission, dog. I don't know what you had going on here, but Dijonai, this is unacceptable. Disrespectful, disgusting, and I'm glad they got you up out.
Cunningham got up immediately, and the frustration was obvious. She went straight toward Carrington before teammates and officials stepped in to separate them. What makes this part of the story interesting is how the league handled the reaction itself. After the game, the officiating crew explained that Cunningham was not penalized because her response was considered understandable given the severity of the contact she had just absorbed. In other words, the officials effectively acknowledged that the hit was serious enough to justify an emotional reaction. That explanation became another major talking point because it reinforced the idea that the foul was viewed as far more than routine basketball contact.
Photo from the flagrant 2 on Dijonai Carrington against Sophie Cunningham, where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So, this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally. Because again, this is a clothesline. It's flagrant.
That's what makes Carrington's comments afterward so puzzling to many people. If the officials themselves determined that the contact was excessive enough to warrant a flagrant 2, and later explained that Cunningham's reaction was understandable given the severity of the hit, then critics wonder where issues of race enter the discussion. The decision was not upgraded because of who committed the foul or who received it. According to the officials, it was upgraded because a player was struck around the head and neck while attempting a shot. That is exactly the type of contact the rule is designed to address, and the standard is supposed to apply equally to every player in the league regardless of identity, reputation, or team affiliation.
Mention the fact that she said white privilege. That is the story. The story isn't that she got kicked out. It's that she tweeted out white privilege as though because Sophie Cunningham is white, somehow that's why she got kicked out. They go on to defend her, the story, the narrative that she's not a dirty player. She makes plays like this all the time. I put together a little clip of Dijonai Carrington, who is definitely one of the dirtiest players in the WNBA. I don't know if we can roll it, but she's taken her long fingernails. She's scratched Caitlin Clark's eyes out. She's had multiple instances of chasing people down from behind, trying the same swat and smashing them in the head and causing mini fights. She pulled another girl's hair. I don't know if we'll get to that clip in a second when she's falling. Totally dirty play. This is not a skin color thing. She has a history of making dirty plays, and it's fine. The NBA, you can be a rough and tumble league. Now, where this thing gets absolutely bananas is when you start making it into a race and culture war, and the people talking about it are not mentioning 99% of the time that she went back and tweeted white privilege.
This is where the controversy exploded. Instead of accepting the ejection and moving on, Carrington went to her Threads account and posted the words white privilege, tagging the Indiana Fever beneath the message. There was no detailed explanation attached to it at the time, just those 2 words, left for the public to interpret. Given the timing, many people immediately connected the post to the ejection and the foul on Cunningham. Within minutes of being thrown out of the game, Carrington had shifted the conversation away from the play itself and into a much larger debate. Whether that was her intention or not, the reaction across the sports world was immediate, and the post quickly became as controversial as the foul that preceded it.